Welcome back. In this one, I'll be sharing a great technique from the old fitted furniture days for cutting a panel or the back of a cabinet around a socket and outlet as I continue with our big build where me and Mrs. 10 Minutes took on our largest project, a side return, an extension to our Victorian terraced house in London. The last time we looked at this, there were a few little snags. So as you can see, kitchen's kind of underway. Will be mostly completed today, or isn't complete. As you can see, our doors and windows at the back appear to be missing a pane of glass. Now, as I said before, we were trying to be as hands-off as possible on the whole project, and for the most part we were, but as we'll see towards the end of the build, we had to get involved just to get things finished so that we could move back in. You go through phases on a job where at the start everybody's happy and smiley and accommodating, and as it all drags on a bit, the guys doing the work have already moved on to the next job mentally, if not completely. And as you, the client, as the homeowner, you just want everybody out of there to get it finished so you can get your house back. So at this stage of things, the kitchen is fitted, albeit with a few parts missing. Does anybody ever get everything they order on a kitchen all at once? And we've protected the cabinetry and the island in anticipation of the floor going down. We looked at all kinds and opted for a vinyl plank by Carndine. It's a semi-commercial grade of flooring that we hope should be hard-wearing and long-lasting. And we're having it laid throughout the whole of the ground floor. The cost of the flooring and fitting was a cool £6,000 for about 75 square meters in total, actually less costly than a solid flooring when you factor in the fitting, and hopefully a lot less future maintenance too. The whole of the ground floor has been lifted and leveled and insulated, and the base flooring has already been boarded out with a thin plywood facing, and that's getting treated with a leveling compound first that needs to be dried fully, and then it can be sanded back before the actual flooring can go down. The vinyl planks are simply glued down a few strips at a time with a little bit of careful measuring and cutting in between, of course, and they're just taped together to give a nice tight joint. You can't walk on it for the first 24 hours, but after that we were able to get in and get it covered up as the builders were still in and out of it doing the final few fixes. A couple of days later and the doors were all swinging, the downstairs toilet fitted and flushing nicely, and we were finally able to remove the dust sheets. There's still protective film on the kitchen cabinets, which is just as well, as we stuffed up the decorating a little bit. Back in the planning stages, we opted to have the decorating costs as something that could be cut for a DIY option if the budget was getting a little tight. But the builders had this down as a hard no rather than a maybe. And by the time we realised it, it was just too late to get anybody in. So me and Mrs. 10 Minutes, with a lot of help from the 10 Minute daughter and her boyfriend, we had to crack on and sort it out ourselves. Yes, this was when I started to have some issues with the tendons in my wrist. That comes back to bite me later on, but needs must, and we did get a coat of paint on everything that needed it, and perhaps on a few things that didn't. With all the trades mostly out of our hair, everything had a good clean up, the floor was uncovered, and we could move back in. Now, inevitably, there was the odd snag that needed sorting out, and the electric blinds to be fitted too. During the second fix, we agonized over which side of the window and door openings the power should be for them. And it turns out that they're all cordless these days, and the batteries last about 6 months before they need charging. Had we known that at the start, it would have saved us a lot of time and angst, so definitely something to bear in mind if you're thinking of having them installed. I was always down to do the final bits of decorative woodwork. We'd opted for the stripy wood veneer panels, and that was just glued onto the wall with a combination of grab adhesive and a fast-setting 5-minute PU adhesive. And this worked really well, although the boards were slightly bowed, which didn't do me any favours. The first wall was straightforward, but the bigger feature wall had socket outlets that needed to be cut around and the ends of the panels shaped to fit the ceiling. Before we get into that though, I need to grab something to eat quickly, and I don't know about you, but when I know that I'm going to be busy, I just want something that's fast and fuss-free. And Huel, who are sponsoring this video, make these entirely plant-based hot and savoury pots. There's a few flavours to choose from. Fiery chicken and hoisin duck are probably my favourites, but today I'm going to try the katsu curry. Each part has all the nutrients and proteins, essential fats, carbs, fiber, vitamins and minerals that the human body needs as part of a balanced diet, and all without any artificial colours or flavours. And because they're all plant-based, they're also great for vegetarians and vegan-friendly too. There are other flavours in the range: Korean barbecue, pasta bolognese and spaghetti carbonara, for example. They all take less than 5 minutes to prepare just by adding boiling water up to the line, no scoops or shakers needed. And they really are tasty, with up to 25 grams of protein per meal. I certainly won't be looking for an afternoon snack to keep me going until dinner time. They're also reasonably priced, starting at a little over £3 per pot. So if that sounds like it may hit the spot for you, then do check out the link and the offer code in the description if you fancy trying them out. And thanks so much to Huel for sponsoring this video. I might need a minute. Back to the slatted panelling now, and earlier in the workshop I'd cut the panels to size and shape the ends to fit against the curve of the ceiling, mostly anyway. If you want the full gory story of the process, then I put all the kitchen finishing up videos out as Plus member exclusive last year. But for the sockets I used an old trick of a piece of translucent twin wall protective corrugated sheet. Correx is the generic name for it. I put that against the skirting board, marked the corners of the sockets, then back in the workshop I transferred those marks to the panels, marked them up carefully and cut them out with a jigsaw. Back here on site I can feed the sockets carefully through the holes, first as a dry fit, and then, as before, the panels were just stuck to the wall with grab adhesive. I also ended up fitting the scrag ends of the kitchen. The toe boards needed a lot of scribing as the floor was far from level. And a couple of the doors that had been missing from the initial order needed hooking up with the Blum Aventus lifts, the first ones I've ever done, can you believe, and all without templates, of course, so I had to make my own from the existing doors using a piece of paper and a pencil. There's no handle on this. The final pieces of the puzzle were the glass splashbacks ordered from a local glaziers. They supplied all the glass and mirrors for any of the cabinetry work that I did back in the day. They did an absolutely fantastic job templating the kitchen, the utility, and the downstairs toilet. And once the glass was cut and sprayed, yes, it's clear glass that they spray in any RAL colour that you like. And once that was done, they came back and fitted everything within a couple of hours. And just like the veneered panels, the sockets were threaded through and the glass just glued onto the wall. And that pretty much completed the build and brings us to where we are now. I fitted the wood up panelling to the downstairs WC in a public facing video a while back, but since then we've simply been enjoying the space. There were many times during the build when we questioned ourselves over the sanity of doing this. We could have had a really nice new kitchen fitted for a fraction of the overall cost, but that was never the reason for doing the build. As I said back at the very start, this was all about getting the house that we needed for the next 10 to 15 years, the next phase of our lives, if you like. It did cost a stupid amount of money, more than double what we paid for the whole house originally. And I doubt that it's added much more to the value either. Houses are only worth whatever somebody else is prepared to pay for them on any given day. But again, we're not selling up. And the reason for doing the work was to stay in this area, in this neighborhood that we like, with all the benefits, all the facilities that it has, with just a better specified home that suits our needs as we get older. And by that metric, it's been a resounding success. And thanks so much for coming along the journey with us. Of course, nothing is ever truly finished. There's some understairs storage to come, and some remodeling of the master bedroom with some new fitted wardrobes. All that good stuff will be coming along as soon as I'm able to do it. If you're considering a large build of your own here in Britain, or you're just interested in the process that we went through, I'm putting together a kind of critical path through the journey with a little bit of help from our architects and builders. If that's of interest, then the best thing you can do right now is to sign up to the mailing list using the link in the description, and that'll put you into the right segment to register your interest in that process as it comes along. But I'm going to call this one done for now. Thanks so much for taking a look. Leave a comment, hit subscribe on your way out. Be sure to leave a key under the mat, and I'll see you in the next one. All right, take care.